Good Thursday evening, everyone. Welcome to GardenStateWeather.com and GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, providing superior forecasting for the northern mid-Atlantic region 24 hours a day. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith. Weather is what you get. Meteorology is what we do. And we've waiting for these blooms to come out because we're about 3 weeks ahead of schedule. We already have the forsythias and some of the other vegetation and flowers are starting to sprout up and root. We'll go over in certain detail why. The moisture content has been very moist, and the temperatures, the soil temperatures have been very warm over the last, over most of the winter season, actually, to tell you the truth. So this is the video forecast discussion. We're going to talk about the weekend a little bit, and we're going to talk about the model guidance and the problems that the model guidance is having this far out for next Wednesday's storm, which would be April the 1st. This is the evening video forecast discussion for March 26th, 2020. Let's take a look at the low-level water vapor this evening. Lots of things to talk about. First of all, this is a very, very strong connection, subtropical jet stream here, and this is going to continue for quite a while over the next 7 to 10 days, bringing bouts of precipitation throughout the Central Plains, the Ohio and Tennessee and Mississippi River Valley. Here we have our upper level low now, which is spinning off the southern New England coast, and our previous storm here well out into the North Atlantic. We've got a new storm system heading into the northwest as well. This feature here, though, tells me over the next 7 to 10 days, and for some reason the graphic stopped. For some reason the graphic stopped, and here we go again. The graphic is going, and so is the broadcast. This feature here, and I want to get out and see if we can go into the global sectors here. This is going to show us that we have very, very, very strong subtropical jet stream connection, a negative SOI, Southern Ice Oscillation Index, so that means that El Nino is still in place. There's no La Nina, and a springtime here in this region of the country is going to be pretty wet. And I beg to differ the fact of the summertime forecast coming up as well, being hot and dry. I'm backing away a little bit on that information. I'll get into that in a minute. Okay, let's take a look at temperatures right now. They've cooled down from the beautiful day today that we had. Lots of beautiful azure blue skies and warm sunshine for late March. Feels like mid-September. In terms of sunshine, temperatures obviously not feeling that well yet up to that point, but we're definitely near or above normal. Right now at about 7:30 this evening or so, just a few minutes before that, we're still in the low to the mid-50s. Only areas here, we might have had a little sea breeze front come in during the afternoon hours. That's evacuated now, but we have some temperatures back into the 40s here. But everybody else had a pleasant day today. And we did have maximums this afternoon in the mid and upper 50s, even some lower 60s. But notice right along the Barrier Strand Islands here, they were in the 40s here. That's because we had a southeast or southeast wind coming in from off the ocean, the southerly flow, and that produced a sea breeze front, basically. Let's see if we can show that later in the diagram, but it's not really necessary, so we'll skip that for today. We'll wait till later in the season when that becomes much more apparent with daytime heating. Today's minimums, obviously starting out on the chilly side in the mid and upper 20s across many regions, in the low and mid 30s everywhere else. One of the tools in the toolbox that we're using also comes to us from the Phenology Network, the U.S. Phenology Network, and this is the growing degree days. Okay, if we look back from January into February, even late January, we're finding dew point temperatures, the accumulated growing degree day units actually, rising here. Now, this is well above the average for this time of the year through 3/31, and the forecast is continuing to climb. So we know that warmer weather is definitely on the way. We're up by 325 plus 20 days in the growing season already. Degree days, so we know that, well, you know, it hasn't been a cold winter here for predominantly most of the winter, and the spring is also turning out to be quite warm indeed with an early start. Wanted to get back to the Rutgers Network weather site, which is providing us with the soil moisture content here. So, you know, at 5 centimeters, just a couple of feet down, we've got quarter to a half of an inch of precipitation. We go all the way deeper down into the soil, and we're still averaging 20 to 50 hundredths of an inch. So the soil has been pretty wet for most of this season. Now, the soil temperature, we go into the soil temperature, we can do the same thing. Again, soil temperatures are pretty warm for this time of the year. They're in the low to the mid 50s near the surface, and if we get down to 50 centimeters, they're still quite warm. They're all above freezing, so that's why everything is blooming and coming out quite early this year. National hazards this evening now, just a couple of streams here in the North Dakota, South Dakota region. Also portions of the Ohio River Valley, portions of the Tennessee River Valley, and the Mississippi River Valley still have some flood watches or flood warnings in effect this evening. And again, we talked about this. This is going to be a continuation with a variation in location of the tributaries along these rivers over the next 7 to 10 days. And it's also red flag warning season, so we've got a lot of those in Colorado and portions of New Mexico and northwestern panhandle of Texas here this evening. And we've also got some wind advisories here for most of New Mexico, and also some high wind warnings for portions of northern New Mexico, central and southern New Mexico as well. And this extends into portions of central and northern Arizona. And meanwhile, some winter weather advisories here for southeastern portions of the state of California, and some freeze warnings, believe it or not. We've got those too for portions of northwestern California this evening. Again, another point I want to make is the 160-hour gauge corrected precipitation analysis from the Weather Prediction Center here. The National Severe Storms Laboratory, actually. This data comes from that. You can see, again, swaths of moderate to heavy rain across the Ohio River Valley, the Tennessee River Valley, and the Mississippi, as well as the portions of the Delta here. So we know that, you know, we've got this active subtropical jet stream, and we've got problems moving forward, too, with lots of precipitation on the way. Well, through Wednesday morning at 8 a.m., the entire season for the winter has averaged, well, below average or near normal for the northern mid-Atlantic, maybe a little bit above normal for, definitely above normal for portions of northern Pennsylvania and northern New York and into the mountains here, the Whites and the Green Mountains here in northern New England and portions of Maine, where they've had significant amounts of snow across the northern plains as well, and across portions of the Ohio River Valley stretching into the Midwest, and of course, all of the very heavy snow in feet. You know, we're talking about 80, 90, 100, 120 inches of snow has fallen in parts of Colorado. I mean, if you really wanted to go skiing, these were the places to be this season. Not here. Okay, if you tuned into our morning video forecast discussion, I spoke about the European model guidance versus the GFS on the 500 millibar pattern going into next week with this storm system. And I spoke about the ridge axis over Montana. That's the ridge axis, and then a trough neutrally tilted through the Great Plains, through the Ohio and Tennessee River Valley area, and then eventually, you know, some blocking here over Greenland and actually well south of Greenland over Nova Scotia and southeastern Canada. And then, of course, going negatively tilted to produce some kind of a coastal storm around here by the time we got to Wednesday night, Thursday of next week. That looked promising, but things are changing now. Flip over to the new model guidance, and this is the reason why things are going to change and have a lot of variability this far out in the forecast. Now we're seeing that the ridge axis is further west now, off of the coast of the west coast of the United States, and basically west to east flow across the country. And by the time we get into the new forecast period, according to the European model guidance, it still wants to give us some kind of a coastal storm here, with the reds being the European model guidance if we go back to Wednesday and Thursday, and then the GFS also. But the upper air pattern here doesn't support this according to the latest model guidance from this morning. It seems like a little bit wackadoodle to me. So the skies are clear right now and things are looking good, but here comes the next disturbance across the region late tonight, tomorrow morning with some light rain showers around the region. That minors out early tomorrow morning, and then things calm down again for the rest of the day. Basically until we get into early Saturday, then here comes the next disturbance. Here comes the warm front now. And this brings the chance of moderate to heavy rain. Well, yeah, some moderate rain around the region. Saturday, late morning, early afternoon, that moves through the region. And just some leftover precipitation, light to moderate rain across the region. Saturday night into Sunday as well. But things for next week, well, they're going to get interesting. But here comes the cold front now. You can see the cold front. We'll stop this. This is the cold front back and through here. I don't know why this is not stopping here. Wants to seem to go back. Anyway, that's it. Digital database forecast temperatures for the New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, Long Island, Northern Mid-Atlantic region. That's what we cover. For tomorrow, temperatures upper 50s to low and mid-60s across the region. Beautiful day tomorrow. Temperatures cooler on Saturday as the front passes through. Temperatures will be in the low to the mid-50s, right around normal, basically, for this time of the year. So tomorrow is above normal. Tomorrow is above normal. Saturday is near normal. And then we get to Sunday, where warm sectored. Where it doesn't get warm initially on Sunday will be this area here across the Hudson River Valley area, Connecticut, Long Island, of course, where the warm front isn't going to make it through for most of the day. Elsewhere, temperatures will run into the upper 50s, the mid-60s, and the low 70s as you approach the I-95 corridor, down through the Delmarva, and down towards Washington, D.C.'s area. Okay, that's how that's going to work. Now, by the time we get to, that's Sunday. By the time we get to Monday now, temperatures back down into the upper 50s and low and mid-60s across the region, which is still quite warm. For this time of the year, it's definitely above average. And then we go back to normal in the low to the mid-50s, upper 50s to around 60 in the Delmarva and I-95 corridor in the Washington, D.C. area. As we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, well, you got it. Upper 40s, low and mid-50s, back to normal once again. Do not forget, we are GardenStateWeather.com, GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com. We're also on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook as well. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith. You have a very pleasant Thursday evening. We'll be back in video forecast discussion tomorrow morning on Friday. Have a pleasant evening.